Hi, I'm Shayna. I'm the art director for Reckoning. And in this video clip, I want to talk to you about how and why we use art for class. As you know by now, class, in the context of Reckoning, stands for character, leadership, and social skills. So we're going to look at how art helps develop those three things. To get started with this topic, I actually want to look at a drawing that one of the kids in the Reckoning program made. So take a look at this drawing of this superhero. This was done for the project that we call the Superhero in Me, where the children develop a superhero version of themselves. I'd like you to take a look at some of the details of this drawing. What kinds of things do you notice? One of the first things I noticed was that, especially in comparison to the other drawings, this drawing has a border around the outside. It's got this gray border. And then I noticed this big metal, well, what I later found out was a metal plate, this big gray square on this character's chest, on his torso. Then I noticed things like the teeth are missing, and the hair is really scraggly, and he's floating off the ground, and the belly button is exposed. And when we started asking this little artist about some of these things, he had some really interesting things to share. One of the first things I said was, "Hey, I noticed that you've got this sort of gray border on your drawing. Can you tell me what that's about?" And he said, "Oh, well, that's a border of protection. That's like a shield. So I have this shield around me." That's really interesting. Can you tell me what this big rectangle is over this torso here? Well, that's a metal plate. And that's another shield, so he's protected. Oh, interesting. And I see that your character is missing some teeth. How did he lose those teeth? Well, he's been through a lot of fights. He's been really beat up, and his hair is missing because of that too. So he's just, he fights a lot. And the belly button, why is the belly button exposed? Well, a laser can come out of there, and he can shoot people away. And look, he's floating on this floating machine that he can escape really quickly on if he needs to. So he continued to tell us some of these things. What's really interesting is later we found out that this boy is a bit of an oddball in the class. And he is bullied, he is picked on, he is teased every day by pretty much every kid in the class. If you think about this, and you think about what came up in the development in this superhero, kind of maybe makes you a little sad, but maybe also reveals quite a bit about this boy's character. And this is where art as a tool for class, art as a way to get to class becomes really interesting. Because what we can notice is that this little kid has actually developed a character who can really persevere, who's got a lot of grit, who's pretty strong, who knows that he needs to put up a shield. It also helps us know that we might need to help him a little bit, that we might need to talk to his classmates about what they're doing, that we might need to make the teacher aware that this is happening. But it's really nice to see that this boy, even in the midst of all of this, can still be so creative and can still think about creating a character that can still keep going. That's strength, and that's actually a pretty strong quality of a leader. And we were able to get to that just by asking him to make a superhero version of himself, to make a drawing. We were able to find out all this stuff about him by putting marks on a paper. And that's why art is amazing. And I want to go a little bit deeper into that idea. So you've heard this example of why we use art for class, and now I want to talk more specifically about that why. One of the first reasons, one of the most important reasons, is that art is accessible. Everyone, anyone can do it, can engage with creativity. And the fact that we're using physical material means it's flexible. Everybody can find their own way to use a material. Everybody can make something into something else. And that's the essence of what we think art is about. Art also has really little to no language barriers because you're dealing with a different kind of language. You're dealing with a creative, a visual language. It's active, it's responsive, you use your hands. And because of that also, we get to a deeper level of the subconscious, allowing people to almost become vulnerable without even recognizing that they're becoming vulnerable. And that's where things get really interesting. When you're working with art, you don't really realize you're doing it, but you have a really unique way of responding to the material. Everybody is going to put a pencil down on a piece of paper in a different way. You're going to take a photograph in a different way, put paint on a canvas in a different way. You're doing that because you are actually expressing sort of the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you see and respond to the world. And that's again one of the reasons why we use art, because we have this ability to then get to this vulnerable subconscious place about how you see, how you dream, what your methods are for responding to the world. We can get to that a little bit more quickly, and once again without you even realizing it's happening. And we think about this with the kids, it helps us then get to these character qualities a lot more quickly. It helps us understand who they are, how they think, and it also helps us to lead them to understand that a little bit more. And that becomes a really powerful tool. So another reason that we use art for class is because of its ability to spark the imagination and curiosity. When we make art, essentially what we're doing is we're bringing something new into the world, something that wasn't there. And when you do that, you're once again tapping into imagination, into vision. And when you do that, it creates something new. There can be an incredible sense of pride and also an incredible sense of wonder for the world. Getting on to the last couple points about why we use art for class and reckoning, I'd like you to stop for a minute and think about whether or not you've ever had a really truly moving experience with a piece of artwork. Maybe you've been to a museum, maybe you've been to a photograph show or a theater show or even seen a film. Something that's really genuinely moved you from your gut, maybe even made you cry or question or just feel anything deeply. Can you think about anything that comes to mind? Art moves us, has the ability to move us because it's so intrinsically linked to beauty and transcendence and to a higher intelligence. And it's that reason that's sort of at the core of why we use art for reckoning, because it brings that sense of wonder, awe, transcendence up for us. It allows us to remember that the world is full of beauty and that we ourselves are full of beauty and that we can tap into that and use that and also put that forward into the world. And what that does then is it leads to a final point of transformation, because beauty and transcendence, it has a way, these things have a way of calling us sort of to something higher, better, to take something that might be forgotten or ugly or rejected and transform it into something useful, beautiful, special. And we're actually talking about doing that with not only with what we're making on paper or canvas or with photographs, but we're also talking about doing it with our own perspective of the world. And it's powerful, and I hope that you will feel that sense of power as you're working with us, with art, with these kids, and with yourselves at your time with reckoning. So, thanks.